And that is on, of course, the new queen of Indian boxing. That's Nikhat Zareen. What a year she has had, isn't it?
Well, incredible. Nikhat's performance finally, has etched her name in Indian boxing. There were a few questions a couple of years back by, another noted boxer about who is Nikhat Zareen. I hope everybody in India has that answer now as to who she is, how she boxes, and she has some attitude, that she carries into the boxing ring. And a phenomenal year for her, and I think she will go even further as far as boxing is concerned. She will add more titles to it. She's got the spark, and she has that ease about her that not a lot of boxers you usually see with. So I do hope and pray for the sake of Nikhat and for India that she continues bringing in the laurels for the country.
Absolutely. There was a Commonwealth Games gold for her in the kitty as well. And the year she's had obviously won her the Arjuna Award as well. So many congratulations to her, all the athletes we've featured, and of course the teams that have done great for India. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. But as we slip into a very short break, here's, as promised, the top 5 global sporting moments of 2022. Thanks a lot for watching. Rafael Nadal didn't wait long to script history in 2022. The Spaniard became the first men's singles player to win 21 Grand Slams at the first Slam of the year in Australia. Later in the year, he would go one up for a record 22 Slam titles, with his record 14th at the French Open. He ends the year 1 year clear of Novak Djokovic. He may have returned disappointed from Qatar, but Cristiano Ronaldo did celebrate a massive milestone earlier in the year. In March, the Portuguese striker scored a brilliant hat-trick in the Premier League and became football's all-time leading goal scorer with 807 goals. The record of 805 was previously held by Austro-Czech footballer Josef Bican. It was a memorable season in Formula One too, with Max Verstappen winning his second consecutive title in style. The Dutch driver toppled Michael Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel's record of 13 race wins during the season. Max won his 14th race at the Mexican Grand Prix and his 15th in Abu Dhabi. Verstappen also scored 454 points, the most ever collected by a driver during the season. In November, the English Lions established their supremacy in white ball cricket, and how. Joss Butler's team won the T20 World Cup in Australia to become the first men's team to hold both the 20 and 50 over World Cups at the same time. England beat India convincingly in the semi-finals and then strolled past Pakistan to claim the trophy. 2022 saved the best for last. Argentina and Lionel Messi's long wait for the World Cup finally ended after an epic final against France. Messi scored 5 goals in the tournament, including 2 in the final, to cement his place as the greatest of all time. A look back at the year will not be complete without a mention of one of the greatest, the Swiss king, Roger Federer's emotional retirement. The 20-time Slam winner leaves a massive void in tennis. And the emotional response of his longtime rival Rafa melted hearts globally. Tennis will never be the same again. Cricket quite a bit when we talked about Thomas Cup. So, Srinivas, why don't I start with some of the cricket moments we have in our list? I want to begin with Gujarat winning the IPL, title. I think a lot of people saw it coming. I think with Hardik Pandya as the captain and with the team that they had very good chances to begin with. But to convert your chances and to actually be able to do it as a debutant is quite spectacular.
Of course, and with all the pressure that was riding on him, he was expected to be the pick of the players that Mumbai Indians would go on to retain, and the fact that they let him go, obviously, if he would have gone into the auction, obviously, everybody was expecting Hardik Pandya to be, the most sought-after cricketer, but then to be retained as captain, to be given that responsibility, and for this boy, who time and again has been under this so-called pressure where, does he have the personality at the highest level to pull it off? and kind of we know what has gone under the bridge, and those questions being raised from time to time. So Hardik taking over that responsibility, and by the way, this is not just about Hardik. Obviously, he put that feather on his own cap. The other bit is Gujarat waiting for 14 years to get a franchise. Right from 2008, as we know, Ahmedabad, one of the most popular cricket centers in the country, waiting for a franchise, and finally they get it. And in the year that they get it, this homeboy comes and takes it away. Phenomenal, I think, the way it all worked out.
Can they retain it?
Sorry?
Can they retain it?
Oh yeah, can they retain it? With the
That's often sometimes tougher than winning it for the first time, isn't it?
Of course, and with Hardik, I think the IPL trophy and he have some sort of a very, very good thing going on, because we've seen what he's done with Mumbai Indians. Titles and Hardik, titles in IPL and Hardik are no strangers to each other, so we don't know what's in store.
Okay, all right. Speaking of cricket, Gulu, I want to come to you on Virat Kohli, who's the other big moment. We know that the World Cup didn't quite pan out for us the way we would have expected. But my God, that innings, I was there when they were playing against Pakistan in Melbourne. This is stuff of legends.
Yeah, well, I must say you're extremely fortunate to have been there at the ground. And, even though India lost in the semi-finals, rather were routed in the semi-finals by England, I think Indian cricket fans will be only too happy that they beat Pakistan in the opening tie. And that too with such an astonishing, come from behind victory for the Indians when they were trailing at the halfway stage. Particularly, it looked like it was all lost. And Haris Rauf is such a remarkable talent, and to be able to strike those boundaries and sixes of a bowler of that caliber, and that too under that kind of pressure. There've been question marks raised over Kohli's consistency over the last couple of years, but I think he proved that when it comes to the crunch situations, there's no batsman in the world who can really pull it off the way Kohli did in that match. And I think it'll go down as one of the greatest one-day knocks in the history of cricket, no doubt.
Nikhil, exactly that, what Gulu mentioned, the occasion and the run-up to the T20 World Cup for Virat Kohli, not the ideal one. He's lost, gave up his captaincy in all formats, was really being questioned. And I think all of that build-up also added to the value of the knock from Virat Kohli. It wasn't just the runs that were as precious as their weight in gold, but also the occasion for Virat Kohli when this knock came.
Shivani, in sports, we always have a "I told you so" story. In case of Virat Kohli, I always say "I told you repeatedly so." I've spent the last part of a year and a half talking about how good the player is, what his caliber is, what he's done for Indian cricket, and that every fan should back him despite the fact that he's not had the best of year. And rightfully, cometh the stage, cometh the man, and what a performance. What a performance. That match basically set the tone for India. Mind you, that's a game we could have very well lost as well.
Yeah.
But had it not been for Virat Kohli's superlative innings, that basically turned the course for India over the World Cup. Of course, we failed to kind of match the world champions' performance. So not quite the tournament that we expected, but as far as Virat Kohli is concerned, a brilliant tournament for him once again.
It was a brilliant tournament for him, Srinivas. Of course, we do need to change this a little bit in Indian cricket, that if we shouldn't be just happy beating Pakistan. I think we need to win a World Cup where we don't win against Pakistan but go on to win the World Cup, to maybe for the fans to realize that, okay, it's not the end of the world if you don't beat Pakistan. But speaking of Virat Kohli, what do you see in future for him? Will the World Cup campaign have rejuvenated Virat Kohli?
Well, after the kind of year that he's had, 2021 going into 2022, the kind of pressures that were riding on him, some of the things had come to a kind of a point where from where he had to move on. I'm talking about, captaincy in white ball cricket. But then, we saw what happened. He giving up the captaincy in red ball cricket. It was quite a tumultuous year for him. So after the way it all ended, to see him again, what was expected was captaincy going away from Virat would kind of take that pressure off from him, and we would probably get to see Virat Kohli, the batsman, for who he really is. And I think the knock against Pakistan is where he gave us glimpses of the kind of Virat Kohli that we've been used to. As I said, that six of Haris Rauf is not going to go out of our memories for a very, very long time. I think whenever we look back at the year 2022, that six is going to stay etched in our minds for the very longest time. And I think Greg Chappell's quote that came after that innings actually added a lot of meaning to that knock when he said that it was a kind of knock that legitimized T20.
Yeah,
and I think coming from an old school, I think that just put it all together. And
yeah, I just hope that he can continue like that. The batsman Virat Kohli is absolutely precious for Indian cricket, much more, as I had said and written, the captain Virat Kohli. But I have just let me also go across to Nikhil. Nikhil, what is it that stands out for you when it comes to Neeraj Chopra?
Well, Shivani, you used the word once in a generation athlete. I couldn't agree more. I've never seen an Indian athlete like him. What stands, what makes him so different? Number one is his attitude. I haven't seen that kind of attitude in a lot of Indian athletes. The moment that you get a little bit of fame, Indian Olympic sport, basically the measure of success is the Olympic goal there. That if you don't perform at the Olympics, that's you're never considered the athlete of the stature that you might be. He performed not just at the Olympics, but at the World Championship, and yet every time you meet to him, you talk to him, he seems like the same person who's driven to do even better. That kind of mentality is what sets apart somebody like Neeraj Chopra. He wants to perform even better. He said, whatever I've done, no big deal, I can perform even better. Seems like he has a good, head on his shoulders and a good team that's advising him, that's taking care of him. So despite all, the commercial commitments that he's had to undertake in the last year or so, the moment it comes to his sport, he's still acing it. So once in a generation athlete is the word that I'll use for him.
You're absolutely right. In all of my interactions, I was one of those people who could be accused of, hounding him after his Olympic victory, as Srinivas was talking about. And he jokes with me that, madam, aap kitne interview loge mere? But you like to listen to him. And when I met him almost a year after his Olympic victory, I just felt like I was meeting the same guy, despite all the trappings of fame, being possibly the biggest athlete the country has ever seen. And yet he's that humble, very down-to-earth Patiala boy, very, very simple. And his desire to do more hasn't dissipated. I think that's the most important thing. He knows age is on his side, and I think he's going to make it count. We wish him all the very best. But Nikhil, continuing that thought, I want to talk about that Thomas Cup win with you as well. Now, that is also a generational shift as far as Indian badminton is concerned, because for so long we've had great successes in Indian badminton, but as individuals. Even if you look at, the doubles, we weren't really at the top echelon. But here you have the men's team combining together in a glorious fashion to win the first Thomas Cup title.
Well, absolutely, Shivani. When I was invited to talk on this show, I jotted down a few points that are still with me. And the top two, moments as far as Indian sport is concerned are Neeraj Chopra's, silver medal and that Thomas Cup win. What an incredible win. It's like winning the World Cup. It's just that, badminton World Cup might not be equated to the same levels as cricket or football for that matter, but a fantabulous win. And if you have players like Shrikant, Lakshya, Pranoy did incredibly well. That third singles always became so critical during the Thomas Cup. And Satvik and Chirag, they've had a phenomenal year as well with that French Open 750 and that World Championship bronze. So that's that key cog of doubles badminton in India. These two have filled that void, and to beat a nation as strong as Indonesia, blank them out. It's possibly rivals that of Neeraj's achievement. I fail at words with regards to that win. That's how happy that it made badminton fans all over India, and just gutsy performance, and the work that's been put into Indian badminton for quite some time
True.
has shown results in individual games so far, but this one ranks right at top as far as Indian badminton is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you make a good point about the consistent work that is being put in. We've got great quote-unquote gurus as far as badminton is concerned in India. They're sharing a lot of their experience. A lot of these stars are being mentored or coached by them. And you can look at the joy on their faces. That is what it meant as far as winning that elusive trophy is concerned, announcing yourself on the global stage is concerned. And we can only hope they can continue from here, because there's so much more